for this game. George Burgess, who we probably expect there, but then Kevin Brown, Stefan Ratchford and Darrell Clark, the other three subs in the modern game. That is a very unusual looking bench, but points to Wayne Bennett having a look at several players here.
It certainly does. Just Kevin Brown obviously gone as a pivot, Stefan Ratchford at full-back, and obviously is looking for the forwards to get long minutes, as many of these forwards haven't played in the NRL playoffs or the Super League playoffs.
Josh Hodgson out of dummy half, and Whitehead down that right-hand side. The two Canberra men in harness. What a season Josh Hodgson has had, of course. Even the Australians have taken notice of him as Scott Taylor bundles it forward here in the opening moments. Hodgson again going left, and a first touch for the skipper on the night with James Graham. Hodgson busy away once more. It's in by Tom Burgess, the only one of the brothers who starts tonight, though we should see George at some point, and kicked away by Hodgson. It's a good finish to the set, although the ball rolls out of play, and a tap back on the 20.
Yeah, a little disappointing there with the kick from Hodgson, but that was a typical Wayne Bennett set there from the forward track, bringing it out from their own goal line. Really aggressive running, looking to find their front, play the ball quickly and get the opposition on the back foot.
Important game for both these sides, of course, for England to find a bit of rhythm, to find a bit of form ahead of the opening match of the Four Nations against New Zealand, which you can see live on BBC One, by the way, next Saturday at 1:15 p.m. Penalty given away.
Yeah, it's a high tackle. I believe it was one of the Burgess lads, Tom Burgess. Just high there, the carry from Garcia, and no doubt about it, contact with the head, so the correct decision from Phil Bentham. And that's a real help for the French team coming out of their own half. Immediately it's taken them 30 metres away from the England goal line for a great opportunity attacking wise, although a little fumble to start with.
Well, the last time England played against France was, of course, at Leigh Sports Village just about this time last year.
Marvellous tackle that one, was it, from Taylor, Dave?
Well, he's had a great year, hasn't he? But that game that day ended with an 84 points to 4 record victory for England. They'll be hoping for something a little stiffer in terms of challenge here tonight. And they're getting it already. Ben Garcia not happy with the way he was dealt with there. And there's a flare-up going on. And I think Cooper's involved. And one or two others. And the locals are getting excited about this.
Yeah,
and it's up to Phil Bentham to sort it out.
And I'm sure that he will there. There's a bit of an overreaction, I believe, from Garcia, but the crowd obviously baying for blood there. The carry from Garcia, felt it was a high tackle. Mike Cooper, I believe, involved, and
let's deal with it.
Referee's going to have a word with his touch judges.
What was that? Yep. Okay. So we've got Cooper running in.
Correct.
First defence.
Yep.
All right. That was on the floor.
Correct.
Okay. People running in. I'll speak to the captains. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me speak, please.
So he's going to draw the two captains
First
here.
defence, Mike Cooper on the floor. Forehand to the face. Okay, it's been reviewed. What I can't have is I can't have players coming in from both teams with that level of aggression. All right. Don't control you, fellas. All right. Okay, first one's here. Mike! It's you, the first one.
Mike Cooper is the man who's given the penalty away.
Yeah, as we thought, a bit of an overreaction there from some members of the French team, but really well dealt with there by referee Phil Bentham, just taking the heat out of the situation and come up with the correct interpretation of the offence.
So a chance for France to have a go.
First.
Ben Garcia is tackled. Only 10 away. Alex Da Costa, the young hooker who's just been having a bit of a breakthrough year out of dummy half, and Remy Castries, who's anything but young, but at 31 years of age still offers a real threat. Da Costa again, and it's a knock-on, I think. Just a little bit of a fumble by Remy Castries.
Yeah, it was a poor play, the ball, that one, especially after they've had two penalties. You often say in rugby league that penalty leads to try, because it's the third set of 6 you have consecutively.
Okay.
But a real let-off there for England.
Hey, fellas, bit of aggression out of the system now.
Casted
Let's get on
just
the
with
rugby, eh? Come
a
on.
sloppy play of the ball.
Heads in.
And obviously England will be looking now to clear their own end.
Out.
So Gale will feed, Widdop rather will feed, and a good clearing run as well.
Help!
McGillivray,
Move! Get square!
who by reputation is one of the
Go,
toughest
one.
men in Super League to tackle. What is it? More penalties given away when teams try to tackle in than anybody
2.
else.
Move!
Such
Back
a
up.
handful.
Go, 2.
Hodgson rolling out of dummy half again.
3. Move! Hold.
Well, there are
Go,
some real
3.
world-class players these days in that England lineup, aren't there? Not the least
4.
Hodgson, and then the man he's just passed to,
Go.
James Graham. Hodgson again going less, and Widdop.
5. Move!
Well, 5 tackles has carried
Go.
England to within 40
Go.
metres of their opponent's line. It's Gale's kick, his first kick of the night. He was taken a little late. And the catch is on the full in the in-goal area, so Gigot with a tap back on the 20.
Yeah, be a little disappointed will Luke Gale. Renowned throughout Super League for a really efficient and accurate kicking game, but that was just too long, and it was just too easy for Gigot, first of all, to pouch, but then to start the set with the tap 20.
So a chance for this French national team to bring it
3.
clear.
Move!
Talk about reputations,
Go,
their
3.
reputation very much on the rebuild at the moment, you'd have to say, after that debacle at Lee
4.
last year.
Move!
It's been a while
Hold.
since they upset an
Go.
England or a Great Britain team. 1990, that famous occasion at Headingley when they beat a Great Britain team that included the likes of
Move.
Dennis Betts, who's
Go.
on the sidelines here tonight,
That's
of
all right.
course, as Wayne Bennett's assistant. Kick is by Barteau. Oh, it's a
5.
good challenge in the air by Arnaud, who wins it back. Still the 6, though.
He's in front.
Da Costa
Vincent.
tries to kick.
Play on now.
Here's Widdop. McGillivray offering himself.
Move!
As always, when the hard work needs doing, is really efficient at that, Jerry McGillivray. He gets in and helps out,
2.
just as Ryan Hall is doing, before inevitably the other 3 quarters will come to take a bit of weight off the forwards.
3.
Here's Watkins.
Move! Yeah. Come on. Go 3.
Hodgson. Dummies right, goes left to Graham. Interesting combination between those two, of
Get
course.
square.
No Roby involved
Go
for this tournament.
Move!
Keeping it very
5.
tight out the England.
Go.
Really are working over the markers and the first defenders near the ruck for
Stand back, 10. Give him
the
10,
French
Tom.
side. And that's a better finish.
That's a good chase as well, isn't it, by McGillivray and Watkins.
Stand. Go 1. He shortened it. 2.
Duport.
Move! Go!
I think they'll be happy with the start they've made, the French team, because they're obviously trying to move the England forwards about, playing a bit
Stand.
wider away from the play of the ball.
3.
And England, at the minute, when they're clearing their own line, they're keeping
4.
it very tight. But
Move.
good
Get
piece of
square.
defence there by
Go, 4.
the youngster Percival on debut.
5. Move! Go!
Here's Da Costa. Gigot involved. As left it goes, and
Good tap.
Duport with a kick, and the chase is on from Robin, but brave stuff by McGillivray. But he's knocked it on.
Yep.
The one of them. One of them.
What, he was in the
He
10?
stayed out. He stayed out.
I don't think he did, sir.
James Graham. Not backwards in coming forwards, is he? As a captain, he is allowed to speak to the referee, and he was very polite at least.
Yes. I think he's got a point. I think the 6 there, we've got Stanislas Robin was in front of the kicker and within the 10, so I'm in agreement with James Graham there, Dave.
You'll have seen a fair few of these French players up close, won't you? He'll be one of them, Stanislav Robin. He's
Yeah,
very
very
good
much
with
so.
Sheffield, hasn't he?
Yes, and obviously they were in the European Championship last year, the French team that Wales competed in.
1. Move! Go!
Da Costa going left. Oh, that's a spill by Navarrete. Wigan fans will raise an eyebrow. They'll be hoping that that's a rare mistake that he will make.
It's a forced error though, wasn't it? Again, Scott Taylor really has started with a certain amount of glint in his eye, shall we say, and determination.
Strong work on McGillivray.
Move! Go
Stopped
1.
in his tracks.
2.
So England trying to muscle up again here through Taylor.
Goal 2. Diving Scott,
Hodgson
2.
and now Graham. Widdop involved, as is
3.
Cooper.
Move! Back up!
It's a big pack that
Goal 3.
England have out there, a big pack of forwards that they have for this Four Nations up and coming. Hodgson with a pass away. It's a little push by Whitehead.
It's a lovely pass, wasn't it? And that's earned that. That was a half break, and obviously,
Holding.
yeah, I think it was Mikel Seaman, the Wakefield player, who had a second effort there to give the penalty away. We're seeing the penalty here. Yeah.
And that's a combination that England will
Oh yes, very much so.
Hodgson and Whitehead.
Goal 1.
Played together all season, haven't they, down under in Canberra.
Here's Widdop away, and Lomax getting involved, and Percival trying to squeeze the pass to Hall, who recovers his poise to Gale, who's being chased hard by Arnaud. Gale with a step. Oh, was there a bit of a trip there?
It was. I think it was Miguel Simon, wasn't it?
But they allow play on, and England could prosper here.
Move! Goal!
Hodgson spins it back to Gale. This is Widdop over the top and patted on by Percival to Hall, who's a strong finisher, but I don't think has got there.
I think he was short there.
What do you think?
Well, they're having a
Time off.
question.
Tackle 3. We have try.
Oh.
Check touch, please.
Well, he thinks a try on the field, and this could be a big decision by the referee.
I think it was a French touch judge actually that gave this. That did surprise me. Well, we can't see anything from that replay. But obviously the process in a rugby league game, which we've said all season, the referee or the officials on field make their decision. In this case, Phil Benton's ruled that he thinks it's a try. And if that's the case, there's got to be evidence to disprove that. And I think there's enough evidence there. I think that ball is grounded short, and then it's grounded on the sideline.
Mohamed Drizza is the French touch judge. Robert Hicks is the video referee who's making the decision right now. I think this will be relayed through the referee himself. I don't think there's a screen in Avignon. Well, they're having another look.
But I don't think this is the best angle, Dave, to tell you the truth. Because obviously the French defenders are between the camera and the ball. And what we're trying to see is where the ball is grounded, and if it's grounded legally, either on the goal line or in the in-goal area.
Well, that's Four Nations, of course. Ryan Hall was involved in a controversial video refereeing decision when his try against Australia in Melbourne wasn't given. That could have, well, would have given England a draw at the very least with a kick to win that game. 16-12, if memory serves, they lost. And how different history might have been if England had won that game, because Steve McNamara might still have been in charge of this England side. But anyway, here we go, still waiting. And if Robert Hicks is looking for the button.
Well, Phil Benton's been very, very patient, as are the players, but they'll be enjoying the break, to tell the truth, because it's been a pretty harem-scarum first 10 minutes, and I think the French have given as good as they've got. Well, here's the action once again. You see Ryan Hall's got the ball in the left hand. It's grounded, I believe, short. And he loses that. Yes, he loses the ball.
Are they looking at a ball steal, though, with 2 men at least involved?
Well, I think that's no try. That's for certain, because he's lost that going forward. If it is a ball steal, it would be a penalty to England. If just judged that he's lost the ball in the tackle.
But if the ball has been dragged forward by the French player, then maybe Hall's. They're looking at whether he's repossessed.
I believe that's no try. I'll be very surprised if that's awarded.
Nope. You're absolutely right, no try, and it's a tap back on the 20, is it? No, they're giving the sixth tackle. Knock on, you're right, knock on, head and feet for the French.
Yep, so they escaped there, and both teams there will have taken some full advantage there by taking some water on board and just resting up.
Or ball in touch. Wait.
It's been a good first 10 minutes, and
come on, mate.
I'm sure Wayne Bennett will be pleased with what he's seen, and I'm also sure that Coach Cologne on the French side were pretty happy as well.
He's not had the best starts of the day, Aurélien Collignet. If he'd not been involved as a French coach, he would have been, in all likelihood, playing for Spain in their World Cup qualifier against Ireland. And if you missed the result earlier, Spain 6, Ireland 46 was a full-time score. The other World Cup qualifying game of the day saw Italy win against Serbia. Serbia 14, Italy 62. Should be of interest to the man alongside me, Mr. Keir, because your side, Wales, play against Italy next week, don't you?
Looking forward to it greatly, over in Monza.
Move! Get square!
With a World Cup
1,
finals
9,
place
square.
at stake. It's a straight shootout between you two, isn't it?
It is.
Here's Hall.
2, move! Go!
Three quarters really getting involved, and I'm really impressed with Josh Hodgson. He's taking the ball, is engaging, interested in the marker for these deft little short passes.
There's Gale, who goes wide to Lomax, and Watkins stepping in.
4, move! Oh, go for.
It's Whitehead, Gale, and now Graham. Little soft-handed pass to the man on his left, Taylor.
He's a big man, isn't he? Really is a big man. They can't put him down.
Six tackle, Gale up to the line, slides it into that in-goal area. It's nicely judged. Gigot has to put it dead.
Yeah, well, that's more like a Luke Gale kick. That it was weighted to perfection, in all honesty, because it interests the defensive line. That in two minds, is it going to be short or not? Really, look at the skill there. First of all, get it through the defensive line, then the weighting of it, which means that Tony Gigot, he has to play at the ball, knock it out of the field of play over the dead ball line, and it's now a repeat set of 6 for the England team.
Here's Lomax with the take. In by Tom Burgess. Good leg drive as well.
Hold. Go 1.
Hodgson. Graham
2.
chewing up a few more meters.
Go. Okay.
Hodgson
Now.
to Tom Burgess involved again. I'm not sure if the offload was meant, but it's effective because it's picked up by Whitehead.
No advantage.
Penalty.
Yep. Ball steal. It wasn't an offload. The referee decides it was a ball steal.
And again, this is the third set that England have had consecutively, so you do fancy that they may well come away with something positive.
Here's Graham.
Go 1.
Hodgson out of dummy half with a short pass for Taylor.
2. Move. Go. 2.
Here's Hodgson to Cooper. He's trying to twist his way over Mike Cooper.
Being very patient out of England, that they really are using the short ball to try and get over from close range. It's going wide here.
Gale. Here's Lomax with a step.
Move. Go.
Still a couple of tackles to go. Hodgson goes out. Gale rather goes off quickly. It's a loose pass by him. It's collected by Garcia. The French breathe a sigh of relief. And you have to say, well done, the French defence.
Yeah, that's 3 sets they defended, all virtually on their own goal line. So great credit to them. Soaked up a lot of pressure there, but you don't know what that will take out of them in the fullness of the half. But they'll take great confidence from that.
And such a contrast to that that occasion last year. Confirmation there that Navarrette's gone off for the time being, and Kevin Leroyer has taken his place. And that test match at Lee last year, it wasn't much of a test match, was it? But this is much sterner for England to deal with. The French are putting up some decent resistance here. Here's McGilvray. With a decent run.
Carries the ball so well, doesn't he? And again, what have we said about the penalties? There's another one to Jermaine McGilvray. It's simply because he carries the ball so aggressively. He lands on his front, which is in a good position to play the ball quickly. And then when he's trying to play the ball quickly, inevitably, one of the defenders will tug at the ankle or just have a second effort on the upper body. And it just prevents him playing it quickly, but also it's against the rules of the game.
Here's Burgess. Wants to wriggle free quickly for Hodgson to pick up and play it down. Whitehead down that right channel again. Battering forward. Watkins. Here's Graham, who's got the capability of so much in that position, hasn't he? Soft-handed pass, hard run. Little dummy from Hodgson. He's caught up top by Gigot.
And Pellissier was on from the bench as well.
On a little dart from dummy half. Is he over the line? And if he is, has he touched it down? The referee's having a real good look there.
Again, the 5 tackles have held out for, so it's just you'd expect the orthodox play would be a kick play on the last tackle. So again, well done, France.
Wood up with a pass to Percival. 6th tackle here. Bumps into his teammate Lomax.
Well, the orthodox play was a kick play, but they ran it on the last tackle, trying to catch the French lacking concentration, but they certainly aren't that. Really good first 16 minutes, and it is there. I agree with you totally. It is a test match, because it's testing the capabilities of both teams.
Well, anyone watching this will say, why do England and France not meet on a more regular basis? If they were always as good as this so far, then that really would be a truly good run out for England, wouldn't it?
It would, but I think as well with the French team, they're a different kettle of fish on their own soil than they are when they travel over the channel.
There's the kick downfield from Bartow. It's going to roll out of play.
40-20, I think.
Well, Lomax didn't know whether to stick a twist there. He's not sure, and the referee will confirm that the French have an attacking feed here.
Good skill, that's a reward. You kick the ball within your own 40-metre area, which is indicated by the red stripe on the field. So he's in there, and it bounces in the field of play, but then crosses the sideline in the opposition 20 metres. And the reward for that piece of skill is head and feed, so you tend to get the ball from that. Marvellous piece of skill from the half-back there, Bartow, I believe it was, who drilled it low and drilled it very, very effectively just inside the English 20-metre line.
So a test for the English defence. There's Bartow with a pass away to Julian. Avignon born Benjamin Julian, so very much on home territory. It's a decent drive by Simon, who's 10 away, and there's still 4 tackles to go. The delayed pass from Robin, but England's defence is not to be breached, not yet. Pellissier with those eye-catching boots. Back now for Busquets. A bruising effort, look for the offload, gets the offload, taken now by Casti. And all the English players will know how much of a handful he can be. Pellissier again picks up and darts, and Eloi Pellissier will score the night's opening try with 18.5 minutes played. Sharp as a knife from dummy half. England's defence caught flat-footed, and the home crowd's enthusiasm is ignited by that sparky piece of play by Pellissier.
Yeah, great interchange there. Pellissier on at dummy half at the hooking position. It's a great description from Remy Casti's play the ball. Sharp as a knife, is very, very accurate. He just picked up, and it was like, it's like as if the pictures went in fast forward. Tremendous try from dummy half by Pellissier, and a real good interchange. Da Costa came off, Pellissier goes on within 3 minutes of entering the fray. Over he goes with a trademark dash from dummy half, and this should be a pretty easy conversion for Tony Guijo. And who'd have thought, 18 minutes or so into the first half, France 6, England 0.
Yep, if it goes over, that's exactly the scoreline we'll be looking at. A lot of excited, talking about Leeds Sporting Village, the last time these two teams met. I think that try will have excited a lot of people around Leeds Sporting Village, because Eloi Pellissier, of course, will be playing for the Leeds Centurions next year in Super League. It's his 3rd try in this, his 13th French international. Tony Gigot in the fullback's position here tonight for France, as we've seen him a lot in Catalan colours, puts it over. So it is 6 points to 0 that France lead midway through this first half.
Yeah, that was really a Catalan dragon engineered try, wasn't it? First of all, there was Casti with the aggressive carry and the quick play of the ball. Then Pelissier with his trademark dart from dummy half. And then obviously the 2 points tagged on by Tony Guijo. All courtesy of Catalan Dragons.
So here's the restart. And here come France again to try and blast their way downfield in the shape of Casti. And another shot. Oh, again, was there a little bit of a trip there on Pelissier?
Yeah, I think Pelissier was fancying the wide open spaces beyond the defensive line, but hauled down.
3, goal.
Pelissier goes wide.
4,
No further than
move.
Julien,
Get
who's
square. Goal. 4.
held up still short of that 30-metre mark. Taken on now by Michael
5.
Simon.
Move. Hold. Goal. 5.
Another ex-Catalan player. There's a lot of players here who either current or former Catalan teammates. That's taken safely enough by Johnny Lomax, who'll bounce away from the first challenge.
They'll be delighted, England. That was a real good defensive set. It restricted yardage of the French side, and also the kick fielded on the full. It means straight away England and into a good attacking position. Simply 38 metres away from the France line with another penalty, courtesy of Jerry McGilvray. So already he's earned 2 penalties with his forceful carries and his fight to play the ball.
Holding after held.
Tremendous. We look at the leg drive, but he will not go down. He gets a wide base, attempting to play the ball, and because they're wrestling with him,
Cheers. Thanks,
it's a
Julian.
penalty
Goal.
for England.
Well, excellent position here, and George Burgess with an early touch. Since he came on the field, gets up and plays it, and Hodgson to Widdop. Widdop with a ball over the top, which has Ryan Hall reaching for, and just enough done by Garcia and Arnaud. Straightforward stuff from Cooper. Hodgson waits. 10 away. Widdop again. Oh, and that's not a good kick by him, and collected by Garcia.
Yeah, I couldn't understand that there. It wasn't a structured kick whatsoever, was it? It was just, what should I do here? I'll just try and put a kick in, and it was a real poor one. But again, good online defence by this French side.
3.
Well, you look at the back line, and outside the 17, there's only George Williams not involved tonight, isn't it? The other players who are not playing tonight in the squad are all forwards.
Goal. 4.
1 to 5. Are you suspecting that this will be England's first choice?
Yes.
5.
Outside backs.
Yes, I certainly am. But I think the half-back positions are really up for grabs with both Williams, who's had a tremendous season with Wigan, and obviously Kevin Brown, who I'm delighted to see back on the international scene.
And is Stefan Ratchford being considered as a pivot as well, or is he?
I think he's there for his utility value. 1, 6, 7, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 13. You name it, he can play it.
Hold.
Here's Percival.
Move. 2. Hold. Goal.
Hodgson out of dummy half goes right again, and another big, powerful effort down that middle. He's putting the work in tonight, McGilvray, isn't he? This is Graham.
Move.
16 minutes and a half remaining.
Goal. 4.
Widdop. Cooper was close by.
5.
Again, a bit of a combination.
Goal.
St
5.
George Illawarra. Lomax with a kick towards his St Helens teammate Percival. So they're all doubling up, but he doesn't quite get the touchdown required.
Yeah, knock on, I think Percival. Dabbed through, this time by fullback Johnny Lomax. That's a deft piece of skill there. Ricocheted off the French player, but it's ruled that Percival attempted to ground it, knocked the ball on.
So the French crowd in decent voice.
Go.
Edwin Springer on the field.
Move.
Yeah, he'll certainly add a spark as well. It's a good bench is Pelissier to start with, and then Springer with his very physical, athletic carries.
Robin quickly up at dummy half.
4. Move. Oh, mate, goal 4.
What's the referee giving here? Knock on.
Yeah. They're soft errors, them. And at some stage you'll get punished for them. They need to buy land by looking after the ball with the sets and by putting a good long kick in at the end of the sets, but that's just a loose error. And it's a great opportunity for England. I'm sure England have been very patient. They're happy to build pressure and obviously attempt in the fullness of time to grind the French team down.
Wait. Come on, boys. Ella. Tony, arms over the top. That's it.
Widdop.
Thanks, Tony.
Hudson packing down the loose forwards position. Watkins shuffling in.
Hold.
It's a three-quarter line that's had an indifferent season, you'd say, at club level, one way or another. McGillvray, Watkins and Hall all finishing the year in the middle eights with their clubs. Percival having his injury problems, but on their day, it's a pretty good class act, isn't it, that three-quarter line. Here's Widdop. Lomax with a quick hands, and it's taken by Hall, and he does not need a second invitation. From the moment he caught that, you knew he was going to score. Ryan Hall is over. It's another England try in his column, and England get their first score of the night. And
a very, very well executed try there. The skills were very slick. It forced the defensive line to bite in. You see that it's the back man there. Widdop takes it to the line. Again, it's Lomax. The French team have jammed in. They've come in, and it's the long pass to Hall that releases him with some space. And when you're a man as big as Ryan Hall, with the pace of Ryan Hall in that amount of space, you're going to end up crossing the whitewash, and that's a very well executed try. But once again, Dave, we've got to go back to that soft header at the play of the ball from the French team. That's what gave England the field position, and England have just worked and built pressure and ended up with that excellent try from Ryan Hall, with obviously Gareth Widdop now trying to tie the scores at 6 apiece.
I think it's the 28th cap. The stats are a bit vague as far as England internationals are concerned, but I'm pretty sure that's Ryan Hall's 28th cap tonight and his 27th try, so that's not a bad return on the international stage, is it, when you consider a lot of those tries have been scored against world-class opposition. It's Widdop who starts it wide and brings it in and finds the target superbly well. It is 6 points apiece. And interesting in that last replay as well, the build-up to try, Ryan Hall, the centre, Darrell Clarke was out there on the wing, so he's clearly come on the field.
Yeah, I think it was in the process of being interchanged there, and it just snooked on, shall we say, from the sideline, but Hall didn't need him. It's been a good game of rugby league. Scores tied, 6-all, and I think that's a pretty fair reflection, although you do sense that England are just starting to exert a bit of ascendancy simply through the physical domination.
Mike Hodgson is still out there, isn't he? We'll see that in a moment or so, but Clarke is operating at dummy half, so...
Well, Hodgson can play. It was a ploy that Canberra used frequently throughout the season. He started at 9, then they sat him as a running forward at 13, and he was effective in that role also.
So he stays out there, and Clarke has got a chance to show his sparkle as well. And the Darrell Clarke's debut in the Four Nations a couple of years ago against Samoa, when he came on at the old Suncourt Stadium and lit up the occasion when he arrived from the interchange bench on that night. Here's Lomax, quick hands from Watkins, and McGillvray steps back inside that corridor and puts the kick in for the chase. It should be covered, and is, by Olivier Arnaud, who can see the dropout underneath the sticks.
Again, the same type of play, wasn't it? It was the called block plays, where there's a lead runner and a man round the back, and it's just releasing the men on the outside. And then once McGillvray was released, he put the kick in. I think Darrell Clarke was hoping the ball would go the more orthodox way through the hands with a pass, but he chose the kick, and it was good covering, wasn't it, from Olivier Arnaud that diffused the situation. But you do feel that England are just growing into this game, and it would not surprise me in this repeat set if they come away with some more points.
He's having a pretty tasty night, isn't he, Jermaine McGillvray? That was an excellent kick on the fly from a winger.
Yeah, he's a very good winger, and he challenges defences. That's the top and bottom of it, no matter where he carries the ball.
Move! Okay.
There's plenty to be
hold.
excited about this
Goal
England
two.
side, isn't there? As Clark brings it away, Widdop looking to delay things for Cooper. When you think that,
Move. 15.
you know, depth has, in the last generations, couple of generations, depth has always been the big question about England. But
Move.
tonight,
Four.
no Sam Burgess, no
Goal.
John Bateman, no Liam Farrell, no Hill, and they've got
Try.
another try. From dummy half, Darrell Clark has wriggled his way over, and the referee does not need a second opinion, and Clark is in. And from 6 down, England now, in the blink of an eye, find themselves in the lead here.
Yeah, you just felt that that pressure was building, and it was a real good carry from Hodgson, a real quick play of the ball, and Darrell Clark, so smart. He saw that the French line, on their own line, were disrupted, picked the ball up, and his sole intention was to get over that whitewash and ground it, and he did that very successfully indeed. So from the French being really good for the first 20 minutes, you just feel that England have just upped the ante, and they're just taking a bit of control of this game.
Widdop in no great rush here, and why should he be?
New job. New job for you.
I'll certainly put this over the crossbar and between the uprights. Should he do that, England will be a full score ahead.
Here it comes, and there it goes. So 12 points to 6, England lead. Half an hour of this first half played at the Parc des Sports in Avignon.
And a very efficient half hour, shall we say. They've certainly been challenged by this French team, but they've stuck to their structure, their systems, their guns basically, and you now feel as if they'll finish the half with a wet sail, this England team.
Gigot with a kick, Lomax with a take. And battered back in there as well.
Big man, isn't it? Burgess.
George Burgess on that occasion.
You'd be all right feeding Tom and George, wouldn't you, for a fortnight, because of your fortune.
Throw Salmon Luke into the mix as well, good heavens. See, Luke Burgess is on his way to France, isn't he? He's signed for Catalan
He is, yes.
in the next Super League season.
On two.
This is Graham, who wasn't done much favours with that pass. Navarrete came charging forward.
The Wigan fans will love that. They love their muscular defence, and that was certainly so. And on an ex-Centelles player, they'll enjoy it even more.
Gigot. It's a decent England chase. Widdop, who kicked the ball in the first place, up there with Cooper. And France with some work to do here.
It's sparked it up a bit, hasn't it, that challenge by Navarrete.
You do feel sometimes that the French psyche on a rugby league field can be a bit fragile, and having gone down to those 2 tries, it's going to be interesting to see how they react here as Parler brings it forward.
But a challenge like that really lifts you, doesn't it? Because it's like, I put the challenge in, you fellas follow me. That's leading by example.
Goudemont is the man who took the drive in there. Another of the Avignon players, Sporting Olympic Avignon in the French league. Here's Lomax.
Ryan Hall on McGillivray next.
It's Hall. Who needs 6 giant forwards when you've got a Hall and a McGillivray out wide to do all the heavy stuff, and a Watkins to add his presence as well. Clark. Tom Burgess.
Good challenge that time by Springer.
Hudson. He's come on leaps and bounds, hasn't he?
Yeah,
I mean, he was a quality hooker before he went to the NRL.
He's just blossomed though, hasn't he?
Last 3 years. And there's a man in the way there in the rock, and as difficult as it is to get out, you can't be in there in the first place.
No, that's the laws of the game. Romain Navarrete it was. And again, it's Hodgson with the carry. I think he is really effective in this running role as a 13. And he's in there with a good carry. Can't put him down. Navarrete behind him in the ruck. And it's simply a real simple decision for Mr. Bentham to give the penalty. But again, the pressure's building.
We're back. Hold. Go.
Tap by Clark. Driven in by Cooper. It's been a very, very solid servant for St George Illawarra as well. His last 2 or 3 years went over there thinking he might get a game every now and again, but has become a starter on a regular basis. Clark out from dummy half with a short pass, and Tom Burgess will bounce away. I think Leroy had the misfortune of getting in the way in the first place, and he wasn't going to let something like that stop him scoring the try, Tom Burgess. And it is England's third, and in the space of 8 minutes they've gone from 6 behind to leading now by 16-6 with a kick to come.
And it is a play, isn't it? They're taking it right to the defensive line and just offering those little soft passes there to lead runners really charging onto the ball aggressively. And for poor old Kevin Leroy, it was like the old steam train's come to town, but 3 metres away from your own goal line, and it takes some stopping, as the example there. And in fact, he didn't stop George Burdish, did he? So again, it's the repeat set that England got. Been really tidy, really efficient. I'm sure coach Wayne Bennett will be delighted with what he's seen in this first 35 minutes or so.
Widdop with a chance to add his third here. He's one of 7 players who last year at least were playing in the NRL, including in that number, of course, is Mike Cooper, who's moving back to Super League next year. But 6 of the starters tonight, 5 of them in the pack, all experiencing the NRL last year. Interestingly, the outside backs all Super League, and Widdop puts the kick over, 3 out of 3. So 6 for France and 18 for England, with half-time looming large.
And I just like the fact that England, they went 6-0 down, refused to panic, just stuck to what they'd been practicing, obviously, how they're bringing the ball out in yardage from their own end, how they're shaping up in good ball. Stuck to it, and they've just ground the French down, and they really are finishing the half very well.
Move! Hold! Go! It's all right.
There's a tradition in warm-up games to tournaments for England to come up with their most embarrassing performances. The Italy defeat, of course, ahead of the World Cup back in 2013. The famous Burley Bears performance when Rick Stone was the coach of Burley Bears back in, when was that, 99? Andy Goodway's Great Britain. But they're showing here tonight that this is a squad full of pedigree.
Very efficient and very professional.
Hodgson.
5! Move! Go 5.
Here's Clark. Widdop.
Hands straight out, Gadwin.
Chases on from Percival and Hall. It's a simple catch from Gigot, but anything but simple in terms of gaining yards.
Hold. Good one, that. Right. Goal 1.
The referee just complimenting Mike Cooper on his tackling technique.
2! Move!
Down on the haunches there, Elwar Pelissier, you might have seen.
They've just been glad to get the ball from us, aren't they? Because England have started to dominate possession the last 10 minutes or so, and it's been a pretty tough period for the French team.
Matthias Parla.
Go 4! Darryl, you come on, get
Gadwin
square.
at Springup.
5!
He's a terrific athlete, isn't he, Gadwin Springup?
Go 5.
Gigot. The kick ricochets and is taken by Percival, who's got a bang to the head there, I think.
Time off. Just wait, we'll sort the injury out.
I think well done to Ben Garcia, because he just made sure that ball went out of play to avoid any doubt about whether the match should stop here, because Percival clearly needs a bit of treatment.
Yeah, it was quite a heavy challenge, wasn't it? Nothing illegal about it. Percival very brave going down. He just caught the knee of the French player going over the top. Great to see Matty Crowther as well, the Castleford physio, isn't it? Out there in the England setup.
Okay, Tony. As he's come in,
Had a great career at Sheffield.
He was one of your 98 boys, wasn't he?
He was, yes. Won the Challenge Cup in '98, and since then His career was finished actually playing for Sheffield Castleford. A bad leg break, and he's been arranged since the physio. And the rains are pouring, Dave.
It is.
In the south of France. And that makes the England performance even more, you know, complimentary, because they really have looked after the ball. But Wayne Bennett's really, it really does emphasise completing your sets and looking after the ball and arm wrestle rugby league, and they're doing it very, very well at the minute.
Yeah, lots to be impressed about this England performance so far. Lots to be impressed as well by the French performance. I mean, they were much second favourites. So Ratchford's on, as you can see, because he was involved there, and Watkins is going to be tackled. Ratchford in at dummy half. Gale. Back it comes for George Burgess to have a dig. Look to follow his brother onto the score sheet.
Goal 4.
Hudson to Widdop. It's Percival with a lovely flick. Well, it would have been had Hall been able to get a hold of it. He claims there was a French touch there.
Well, we'll find out from the touches soon. He doesn't.
Just though that Arnaud might have got a touch, and I think the referee might have changed his mind.
Well, if it has, despite the inclement weather in Avignon, you sense they may well post another 6 points here. Really good how they approach this game, and how professional and efficient they've been throughout this first 40 minutes.
Wait. One more. Tony! No. Out.
Right up the feed. Away it comes from Clark at loose forward, and Watkins with a little skip. For all that Leeds have not had a great season, Callum Watkins has still been in amongst the tries. 9 tries in his 15 appearances. Oh, it's a ballooned effort. So it was 18 tries in his 30 appearances for Leeds this year. Callum Watkins doing him disservice. Hudson to Gale, and here's Ratchford.
3! Move!
Good defence, well read there by Vincent Deporto, came in on the back man of that shape.
4!
Well done, the French. I thought that they'd conceded this set, and with it being so late in the half and all the possession with England.
They might still. Ryan Hall in at the corner. The commentators Cursor and John Keir. Ryan Hall over for his second try of the night, and if the stats are to be believed, that gives him parity in terms of performances and tries scored. He is prolific. It might not have been the most memorable of seasons, but maybe the international campaign will see Ryan Hall coming up.
Good pass there. Tremendous pass from Widdop, right on the button there. Saw the French defence coming in on the shorter pass options, and just selected the correct pass and executed the correct pass in a very, very skillful manner. Tremendous piece of play there from Widdop to finish the half, and England have just built and built and built, Dave. Really have.
Yep, went 6-0 down after 18 minutes. The try from Elwar Pelissier. Not exactly against the run of play, but certainly England hadn't looked flaky in that opening 20 minutes. They had looked good, but having gone behind, they have looked better since. Ryan Hall opening the scoring in the 26th minute. Darrell Clark 3 minutes later. Tom Burgess not long after that. And as the hooter sounded just before, Ryan Hall scoring the 4th England try of the night. Widdop is unable to add the 2, his first miss of the evening. But at half-time, it's England who lead by 22 points to 6, and a final comment from John Keir, the Wales coach.
Yeah, they'll be absolutely delighted, especially with the inclement weather down in the south of France there. It's been teeming down for the majority of the half, but England have been so professional, so ruthless, and they've just worked their way into the game, built the pressure, and that 22 points to 6 is just reward for a very efficient first half of rugby league.
So England back out for the second half, looking very healthy at the moment with their 22 points to 6 half-time lead. James Graham just having a little warm-up jog down the sidelines. 18 players out there, so it doesn't look like he's going to be starting in this second half. The captain for the night, John Keir, alongside me. We wait for the referee to reach the middle to get us underway again. But England content with what they've seen so far, John Keir?
Very content, yes. I think they'll be really happy with what these players have produced in the first half. I also think the England coaching team will be delighted at the minutes that some of these players are getting after quite a few weeks of inactivity with regard to actually being out on a field on a rugby league playing field.
So Romain Navarrete is the first man to bring it back for the French in this second period. If you are just joining us at the start of the second half, as you can see, England leading by 22 points to 6. They were 6-0 down after 8 minutes, a very sharp dummy half score from Eloi Pelissier, but since then Ryan Hall with a couple. He started it and finished it with his tries in the first half, and Darrell Clarke and Tom Burgess in between times as well, with Widdop landing 3 of his 4 conversion attempts. And we have seen just about everybody apart from Kevin Brown, haven't we, from the interchange bench. The news is that Johnny Lomax, Mark Percival, Luke Gale, Scott Taylor all starting tonight as debutants. Stephen Ratchford's come on from the bench as well.
And again, an error from France. It was Vincent Dupont that time, and
is he going for a card here?
In their own half. No, I don't think that's necessary. It was a bit petulant. I think he was more annoyed at his at the fact that his skill broke down under the pressure of the England defensive line, and it went down there. And England again starting the French half, and that's been the pattern as the game's developed. England's dominance has increased.
We've got it better than that. You're already out. You're already out, scrum.
Binding the scrum.
Binding, Tony.
It's a new idea.
Tend not to give it away for feeding the scrum next, will we? Here's a chance for George Burgess to flex his muscles early on, but my word, look at the French muscle there. He's pushed back a few yards. It's not in the Burgess DNA to accept that kind of challenge lightly. Clarke out from dummy half. Clearly still out there. Ratchford as well, who was a late involvee in the first period.
It's good work by Burgess. 2 carries in the first 3 tackles there. Really getting involved in a positive manner.
It's with Ratchford with a pass away to Whitehead. The step from Watkins. It's less than 10 away. And they've still got a couple of tackles to play with here. Have England, so an opportunity. Hodgson, Widdop, patted on by Ratchford, and here comes Percival to Ryan Hall, who's looking for a hat-trick, of course, but held up short. Ratchford again. This is the 6. Widdop threads it through into that in goal. Just a pressure kick, that, wasn't it?
An intelligent kick, but I'd be really disappointed if I was the French coach there with now, because when you're under the cosh, which the French are at the end of the first half, the beginning of the second half, he needed to get that ball in his hand and attempt to get back in the field of play to stop the French having to defend another set of 6 tackles, because this is just like manna from heaven for England. All they're doing, building pressure, taking energy out of the French and taking the chances when they come along.
So the restart is a Gigot drop and a stretch from McGilvray.
Good drop out of that.
Yeah, he's got some distance.
70 metres.
McGilvray's got further to come back. And the French are up to meet him. So England start their set inside their half with Clarke at dummy half. Here's George Burgess. To remind latecomers, Sam Burgess, the England skipper for the series, not involved tonight due to suspension, carried over from the NRL season, just the 1 game. He'll be available for New Zealand next week. Here's Percival. He's finding a bit of a path.
3.
Yes, I think he's had a good first 40-odd minutes as Mark Percival. Contributed really effectively.
Off, Kevin, come on.
It's Gale, and into the little hole Whitehead was trying to push himself.
Goal 4.
They're really well drilled out in England.
Hodgson's pass away, and another blustering effort from Burgess. George Burgess has put England within touching distance almost, with 1 tackle to come.
Goal 5.
It's a short, big effort made but the French defence is robust enough to withstand that, and they will get the ball back.
Yes, a couple of times England have done that. The last tackle on the French line, rather than go for the contested kick, they've gone for the short pass, trying to go through the French team, and just said, well, if you stop us, that's okay. You've got the ball, you've 90 odd metres to go. And he'd made one in the first carry.
Reminder that that England-New Zealand game, as all England's games will be during this Four Nations season, live on the BBC next week, 1:15 p.m, live from Huddersfield for that first match. Highlights, of course, of the Scotland-Australia match, which will have been played the night before at Kingston Rovers. And all the England games, plus the final, plus the Australian-New Zealand match at Coventry, all of them live on either BBC One or BBC Two.
Yeah, it'd be a great feast of rugby league, won't it? Elite sport at its very best.
As Bartel has found a way to get a kick away, and the bounce is kind from the French point of view. It is England's head and feet.
Yeah, but they'll be happy with that, France, because they've been under pressure. They've cleared their own end there. They've put it over the sideline, which is an intelligent thing to do. It allows you to walk to the scrum, it allows you to get some oxygen in your lungs, and get a bit of a rest, so that you can really get your defensive line set, ready to advance aggressively to stop, obviously, England coming away from their own line.
And in this international season, remiss of us not to have mentioned so far the Women's International, which was played as a warm-up game to this one in Avignon. France 6, England 36. So well done to the English Women's Rugby League side. 8 tries they scored in demolishing their hosts. And the other 2 internationals today in the men's game in World Cup qualifying, Pool B, Spain 6, Ireland 46, and Pool A, Serbia 14, Italy 62. So it's a straight shootout in Monza next week between Wales and Italy for a confirmed place in the World Cup. The losers will get a second bite of the cherry with a playoff game.
It's the same with the Ireland-Russia game as well, Dave. Winners take all, and the losers go into that playoff game.
Here's Tom Burgess. And if we get chance, John, we will ask you about that game last night that your side were involved in, the draw against Jamaica at Wakefield. Here is a step, lovely step from Gale. That's support on the inside, but can't get the pass away. The 5th tackler's pass, so here comes the last. Widdop will chip it. It's a challenge by Hall, knocked on.
Yeah, knocked on by
England's head and feed.
Yep. So that time they went to the air to contest the kick. And again, because of Hall's challenge, it's forced the error. It's an indifferent effort there, wasn't it, from Olivier Arnaud. I mean, he just tried to pat the ball back. He needs to be much more assertive and attempt to claim it. Or the alternative, Dave, would be to let Hall claim it. And as he claimed the ball and his feet landed, just to jam him with a good shoulder contact and make the tackle, which would obviously make it the last tackle and a turnover to France. But that was a poor effort.
Well, it's notable how the atmosphere here has diminished considerably in this the start of the second half. The French side not giving their supporters too much to cheer at the moment. England are doing a job in that respect. And what they're given here, man in the rock again from Goudemont.
They're just playing it too quick, aren't they? The bigger England forward pack, they really are getting on the front foot. They're using good footwork, they're carrying aggressively. Generally they finish on the front. Oh, that's a good effort there by Kevin Leroy to slow the England player the ball, but again they've gone to the edges now.
Here's Ratchford with a step back on the inside. No give. So dashing into dummy half is Darryl Clark, who's getting some minutes in here, trying to impress his new coach Wayne Bennett. It's back with Gale, and now Whitehead, and Watkins was
good shot.
Thinking about the quick pass away, but realised it was not going to happen.
I like that from Matthias Pallard, I really do. He bent his back, hit with the shoulder, and they knew they'd hit him.
Widdop with a kick, but there's not much of a chase. Wasn't exactly telegraphed to his teammate. Shigo with a simple collect. And France back with it, but only 5 strides away from their own line.
But England, I feel England are being clinical, not only in the systems, the structures they've really bought into. Now, hasn't the discipline been very good as well, Dave? They haven't given, in general, the French any easy piggybacks upfield. They've made every... Well, I'll keep my mouth shut, Dave. I'll absolutely keep my mouth shut.
Well, that's the second time that's happened today, isn't it?
It is. I was complimenting the French defence and Ryan Hall scored.
Yep.
And then I'm complimenting the England discipline. And they wallop somebody and give a penalty away. Great stuff.
So a chance for France to do exactly what John Keir said they weren't going to do, and that's clear their lines. And a chance for them to enjoy some possession inside their opponent's half for a tackle or two here. Pelissier in a dummy half.
I still think the principle is like, I still think England's discipline generally has been very, very good. Both sticking to the game plan, but also not upsetting the referee in any manner.
Casti, Rene Casti, is not exactly right at the end of his career, but coming towards the age of 31. And he'll get a penalty, another penalty.
Penalty try, is it?
What are they thinking about here?
Well, there's no thought to do. You put it into touch and you take this set because they're not going to win by taking 2 points at this stage in the game.
Well, they've taken the tap quickly. Finding position here. It's in by Busquets. Still doing his level best to rip a hole in England's defence. Pelissier in at dummy half. England on their own line at the moment. Pelissier, who's flashed over once, tries to do something similar. It was an audacious dummy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But it wasn't bought. And Busquets with a poor pass. Collected by Julian. Eye-catching debut against Leeds at the start of last season. Boy, doesn't that seem a long time ago in that first game. It's Gigot. Here's Parler.
Good defence. Good defence.
One tackle to survive here. Gigot just measures it in, and there's a claim for a try. The referee is going to investigate.
Let's see what the referee feels after consulting with his officials. He's taking time off the clock, hasn't he?
He's given the dropout underneath the sticks. He's not going for the review.
He isn't now. Well, he was in a pretty good position, wasn't he, Phil Bentham? You know, from the refereeing textbook, it was ideal. Lovely little kick dribble through there. I think his claim was taken out, is Bartal. Not that he's grounded the ball. I just feel that there's a block and interference for an England player when he's chasing the kick, but they'll settle for the repeat set. Because England had to put the ball out of the field of play.
So Ratchford will let it fly. It's going to be caught by Robin and driven back by Casti, who's met well by Graham. A bit of chat, I'm sure, on the ground there between Graham and Casti. Those are two forwards with a certain reputation for toughness. Here's Pelissier. The French crowd are being urged to get behind their side here as Bartal goes right. And a little dodge and a weave. Clark completing the tackle. Pelissier is looking for a penalty and gets a penalty, running out of dummy half with England players offside.
Yeah.
Not square, lads. Effective.
The England markers just weren't set, and Pelissier simply ran at them. You see there, Bartal, he comes through the other side, plays the ball. Both England markers are retreating, and Pelissier just goes at them and says to the referee, "Hey fella, they're offside."
Here's Julian.
In French.
Julian will get up and play a couple of strides away. Pelissier's there at dummy half again and skips it back, and a catch by Simon and a pass to Gigot, and now it's Leroy. England's defence scrambles across and makes the tackle good. Whitehead, the key to that. It's back with Casti, and now Gigot, who offers it inside for Simon again. Pelissier marching up there. The pass away to Gigot. They're trying to make some room here. Garcia!
He's dropped it.
Looking to muscle over. Hall picks it up. The referee says it was a straightforward knock-on. So England survive.
He refereed well tonight, hasn't he, Phil Bentham? Been assertive, been decisive, and generally he's been correct. And I agree. That was a loose carry.
So that to desperation, wasn't it? Close to the line with tackles running out.
Well, that's perhaps the difference in composure levels of the two teams. England, I would suggest, Dave, would have been happy just to take the tackle, build pressure, try to get a repeat set. Whereas the French, there's an element of lack of composure. They were trying to force the play, get over the line, and consequently that's happened, and it's England head and feet and England ball. And I've no doubt they'll look after this ball, they'll carry aggressively, and they'll finish with a long kick and an aggressive chase.
Clark out of dummy half, and Watkins is getting involved early here. It's Clark again. I don't think we've seen Kevin Brown yet. Oh, there he is. Kevin Brown, literally just come onto the field, suddenly dashed on.
I'm glad that happened to you, Dave.
So we're going to see all of the interchange players. This interesting mix from the interchange bench. George Burgess, but also three of the backs. Kevin Brown, who's involved straight away here. Stephen Ratchford and Darrell Clark. We've seen all of them now. They've got a chance to shine. And Widdop with a spooned kick downfield, which is safely pouched, but the England chase is decent.
He did well, Robban, there, didn't he? Because it's difficult to catch the ball going over his shoulders, it was then, but pouched it without a problem, really.
Here's Parler running hither and thither. He's another with league connections, isn't he? He was released by the then championship side back in February. Dupont is put down. Robban waits at dummy half patiently, not the quickest of play the balls. Driven in by Leroy. Pelissier marshalling in. Casti. 5 gone, and the 6th tattle is the next. So here's Bartow's kick, drags it downfield. Efficiently done out of play, and England will get the ball back, but only about 12 yards from their own
And
line.
you can understand that tactic, you know, in all honesty, when you've got an England back three waiting to receive the kick of Ryan Hall on one side, McGillivray on the other side, and the Stephen Ratchford sweeping around the back. Perhaps that's a pretty decent thing to do, just put it over the sideline, and we'll have a set defensive line, and we'll really try to take the yards out of England's carries. But again, the start of this half, well, after the first 15 minutes of the half, David, it's been scoreless, hasn't it, this half?
Yep.
So credit to the French, but again, I like the England mentality because they're happy to stay in there, and they're confident enough to say, as the half unfolds, the French defence will get a bit looser and will take advantage of that.
Here's Graham. Interesting comment from Wayne Bennett after the grand final, saying one player in that grand final played themselves into this England squad and one player played himself out of the England squad. We can only guess as to who it is. But in terms of what we've seen tonight, do you feel that anyone has played himself into Wayne Bennett's thinking for next week's tougher test against New Zealand?
I think Wayne Bennett will have a very, very good idea of who he's going with. I would say he'll have had 14 or 15 already selected, but this game today will just solidify the last couple or three, and perhaps his rotation policy as well off the interchange bench.
Here's Clark. Brown, who might well be playing for one of the positions with a kick that's not backed by Widdop, who he might be up against in terms of that number 6 shirt. The ball's all over the place. Clark is the man who picks it up. England are allowed to play on, and this is Watkins who steps back on the inside, finds the pass away to his Leeds teammate Ryan Hall, and Hall is dragged down 10 away.
Yeah, and off the left wing, Ryan Hall, so he's certainly making an impression. And another penalty. I sense this is the time the French defence is going to break for the first time in this half.
Here's Taylor, Scott Taylor, with a big effort, just short. Clark, the man in that dummy half position again. Brown with a short pass away, but the French defence is solid enough at the moment to keep George Burgess at bay. Widdop's pass, Ratchford with a little step. So now Percival gets involved. Back to Widdop again. Here's Graham, straightening up.
Poor dummy half pass from Mark Percival there to Gareth Widdop, because he caught it behind him, and it took any impetus out of the attack.
So Kevin Brown offering it on the inside for Whitehead. 5 gone. Here comes the 6th. It's Clark again. Widdop looking for the kick, looking to chip it, making it an aerial battle, which is won on the rebound by Ono. He got a couple of chances and takes it safely at the second attempt.
Yeah, did well there, didn't he? But again, it's a canny little kick, and again, you're turning the ball over just meters away from the French line, and they're making the French work really hard to get any field position whatsoever.
Parla to his feet. He qualifies for Italy as well, Matthias Parla, so he could have been involved in
Leave him
different
in France,
circumstances.
Dave. Leave him over there.
Here's a kick away from Gigot, who's looking for a 40-20, and, well, it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Just bobbling away. The referee's going to make sure. What's he making sure of here?
I don't think Phil Bentham
He's given England.
was sure that it went over the 20-metre. It's a great kick from Gigot out of dummy half, but I think he feels, as Phil Bentham, it's this side of the 20-metre line, the big field side, and I think the touch judge might, the French touch judge might disagree with him. But Phil Bentham's in charge, and he's checking it, I think.
It was close.
It was.
It was Gigot, by the way, with the 40-20 in the first half.
It was, yes.
We thought it might have been Barter, but it was Gigot with that 40-20 in the first half. And having consulted, he's given England the head and feet.
Yep, I prefer Phil Bentham measuring the carpets and the French official on the far side.
Referee's not happy with the two packs packing down. Wants the French to keep their heads in until the ball comes out. Breaking away too early, he decided. Hall. Clark motoring up to dummy half. No score so far in this second half, with very nearly 20 minutes of it played, but England still leading thanks to the 4 tries they scored in the 14 minutes before the interval in the first half. 22 points to 6. Lomax back on the field, operating out of dummy half for that play. Here comes Taylor. He's had a decent game, hasn't he, Scott
He's had a
Taylor?
very good game. Yeah, he's really put his hand up to being this face of England pack with it. It's going to be hard to get in that pack, isn't it?
It's a big Kiwi pack they'll be up against next week as well, won't
And
it?
they'll handle it.
Some big hitters in there. It's going to be ferocious stuff. Kevin Brown gets the kick away, and it's caught safely enough by Gigot.
Played well, Gigot, hasn't he? He has.
Parla. Big arms of George Burgess, wrapping him up and putting him down.
Like a big bear that gives a penalty away. They've hung in there, the French have. They've shown great spirit, great effort, because a lot of their sets have been having to bring them from their own defensive line. That's a decent carry from Parla, and once again it was George Burgess that time giving the penalty away.
Aurélien Cologny, he's only 38 years of age. He didn't have the most glittering of careers, the new coach here. 3 French caps himself, but not the most outstanding player of his generation by any stretch of the imagination. But he's certainly got the spirit sparked in this French side here tonight. They are going to be beaten, you would think, but they have not been humbled as they might have been in the past. It's taken in by Busquets.
Well, if you referred to it earlier, Dave, was it 84 points to 4 last year?
It's picked up by Leroyer with a kick for the corner, and it's too heavy and out of play. To be fair, though, it was a very weak French side, wasn't it, 12 months ago?
But perhaps the coaches galvanised the personnel, wanted to put their hands up and play. Little kick there, it was just too hard, well shepherded by McGillivray. And the personnel are good, but you've still got to get the team unity, the spirit in there. And there's been that Gallic spirit to the forefront today. They've done real well.
Here's Clark. Hall again.
He's had a good game. He's plenty of work, hasn't he, as well as 2 good tries.
Yeah, the 3 quarters have found some form tonight, haven't they? Here's Graham on the short, soft pass again. Clark dashing his gaze right and left before deciding to go down the middle for Scott Taylor to have another trundle forward on tackle 5. So here comes the last. What do England do here? Back it goes to Brown. Brown's kick. Well, it's a little too deep in the end, and Gigot with a safe catch. But England not exactly heartbroken with that position. France having to start from very deep again.
Again, yes, again. And that's credit to England. They're going through the process of rugby league. in a very efficient manner.
Pelissier's down on his haunches again. That's there's a couple of times we've seen him in this game. He's feeling the effects, it would seem. Dupont.
Well, there is only 10 interchanges, isn't there? So you've got to use them sparingly. That's Bartel with that kick. But well covered by Johnny Lomax.
So a pair of hands from Lomax, and back he brings it and tries to get things moving again with Jermaine McGillvray involved, who just sweeps himself underneath the arm of Casti.
That's what you get there by just keeping in this process and keeping in his armors and set for set. The French looked tired, and that kick chase was the first indication that they were getting tired, and there's still 17 minutes left. I think we'll see a couple of 3 scores from England before the end of this game.
Widdop the pass away to Percival. Percival pushing away the attempts by Julian. Gathered in eventually. 30 metres out. England winding themselves up again here. Graham goes back to Brown, who gets it to Lomax, who's hit well by Dupont.
He's put some shots in, hasn't he, Dupont?
Still a couple of plays to go. It's Graham. Wants to get the arms free, but they're being bundled in there. Michael Simon hanging on grimly. And the French defence hanging on grimly here as England go wide. Widdop out to Lomax. Now Percival. Here's Hall. Steps back in and lobs it in. And it's a poor pass, which Julian will collect. And France have possession back again.
That was a pass and hope, that. It really was. And I think it's probably the first thing that Ryan Hall has done incorrectly. But it was a poor pass. And it would be much better, as we've said before, we've complimented England on the fact that they take the tackle, build the pressure. And that just let the French off too easily.
Casti getting up to play it here, and Leroyer will drive it in. This half still awaits its first score, 24.5 minutes in, and England just working through the processes here in defence as Pelissier goes left to Gigot. That took a deflection.
Yeah, I don't think he played it though. I think it will be England's head and feet, yeah.
It is. It's not gone down well with the locals, has it? I thought the rule was these days that if you're advancing towards the ball, even if it hits you back, it's still deemed as played out.
It is. That's the interpretation in Super League.
Yeah.
There are subtle differences in the international game, and look at the weather there, which might be one of the reasons that it's been scoreless in the second half.
Josh Hodgson's had a decent breather on the sidelines, but
he's had a good game as well, though.
As you can see, he's about to reimpose himself on the occasion. Paul Wellens under the backroom staff, of course. So the feed is by Brown. Clark's last job on the field was to collect it at loose forward and pass it away, and he's gone off, and Hodgson has come on. So you'd fancy this is the way it will stay in terms of the dummy half roll for the next 15 minutes, the final quarter of an hour of the game. Brown. Hodgson immediately is in here. And again, just a little over-robust.
Yeah. It's hard enough without giving penalties away. It really is. Comes in there, Kevin Brown with the carry.
There's a lot going on after the tackle's completed, isn't
it's
there?
just unnecessary.
So
Brown was tackled, he was on his back. It would have been a slow play, the ball anyway. Just pointless, just having those extra illegal efforts.
Hodgson is the man at dummy half, less than 10 metres away, as England begin to pile on the pressure again here, looking for their first try of this half, having ground the French down thus far. Brown's pass, Widdop takes it on. Cooper finds a little bit of a channel in which to run. Muscular effort by him. England 5 strides away. Hodgson now going right and then going left, and here is Taylor. Scott Taylor, the direct route towards the line. He's going to be held up short.
Yeah, he'd love to score. He really would. He's had a great season with Hull FC, and He hasn't looked out of place out there today.
Memorable debut for Scott Taylor as Brown with a dummy, and a memorable debut. Kevin Brown sliding over to score the try, and doesn't he just love that moment? Recalled into this England squad and picking a point to find a hole in that French defence for England's first try in the second half.
That's one of Kevin Brown's stock plays, that one. Is a pivotal player who you've got to worry about carrying the ball. That's got to be your first question against Kevin Brown. Is he going to carry the ball? Only when he passes can you slide off him. Unfortunately for the French defence there, he threw the big dummy, they drifted out, the gap opened up and through he went. And again, Dave, as we've sensed, as the half's gone on, they've just gradually become more and more dominant of the England side. And that's try one. I'm still tipping another 2 tries before the end of the game.
And you're saying very typical of the Wayne Bennett style as a coach.
It is. You'll often find a lot of his teams, they tend to have little scoring flurries from minute 25 to 40 in the first half, and sort of minute 65 to 80 in the second half, because they work the opposition over so effectively. And there's a conversion from Widdop as well, so 28 points to 6.
It is. Widdop's just missed the one so far tonight. The touchline attempt in the 40th minute for Ryan Hall's try, but ain't that typical Kevin Brown. Ghosting over from close range. Overlooked, despite club form in the last few years. Very much part of the scene here tonight, and potentially in the weeks ahead as well.
We've got some interesting half-back combinations, haven't we, that the England team they could sort of choose from. There's obviously Williams, who I thought was fantastic for Wigan. You know, he really was one of their trailblazers in an injury-ravaged season for his squad. You've got Kevin Brown, you've got Gareth Widdop, there's Luke Gale. Pair many 2 from 4, and you'll have a pretty good combination.
This is Hodgson, who gives an element of class to the dummy half roll, but I think there was an obstruction there, was there?
There was, but I think they're looking at why the England player is lying prone in back play. Little discussion or two going on there with the Anglo-French relations.
Not sure who it is.
Well, he was in the background there. He was Josh Hodgson, wasn't it? He was tackled, but it was in the background that the player was laying down. Is it James Graham?
It might be. There's no sign of Graham there standing in that cluster, is there? Chris Brooks, the doctor, looking on. Professor Chris Brooks, of course. A chance for a break. And while there's a break in play here, it's a quick reprise of last night's events at Wakefield, John Keir. Your Wales side held by Jamaica.
Yeah,
how much of a surprise was that for you?
Well, we're very disappointed how we played as from the Wales perspective. But the occasion was good. There was a good crowd there. The West Yorkshire people turned out well. And credit to Jamaica, I thought they got the tactics right. They slowed the game down. They made it really difficult for us. They were very physical, very tough with the carries. And, you know, deserved draw for them. And, yes, we were disappointed, but Wales will learn lots of lessons from that for the challenge that Italy pose next year. And Pelissier now on the sideline, and
Simbin,
yes,
Simbin, it would seem. The indication we're getting for presumably the late tackle on James Graham, which, as you can see, has left him a little nonplussed, and he's been helped to the sidelines by Chris Brooks. He'll be given the head check here. He's got 15 minutes.
He's got lots of plus points, hasn't he, Elwar Pelissier? He's a really exciting dummy half players, but he's also got some negatives with his, shall we say, ill-discipline at times, and that's obviously one of them. It's been harder for France with this increased England dominance as the half's gone on. Well, throw 12 men in, throw going a man down, and 12 men for the last...
For the rest of the game, basically.
Basically, yes, and it's going to be tough.
And you'd imagine that Graham would stay off now. There's no reason for him to be risked, even if he is fit enough to come back on again. And another penalty here, and the discipline just beginning to eke away. Kevin Leroy here.
It gets like that, though, when the opposition just keep grinding and grinding and grinding. It becomes ever more difficult. And it's impressive by England. They're happy to keep doing this, and that's what Test match football is about. It really is. I think this England side really will challenge in this Four Nations competition.
Hodgson's offering it off for Scott Taylor to have another of his big carries forward, but he's made it to the 10-metre line, no further. Hodgson now at dummy half towards this right-hand side. Brown, and you can see that Lomax had joined in, and Ratcher gets the pass away, and McGilvray will dive for the corner. There's a question of whether his foot might have been in touch or not here. So the referee will go to the big screen. He thinks it's a try on the field, so the touch judge presumably thinking that it was all good.
Well, all will be revealed. Again, it was nice ball movement, wasn't it? But here's the finish from McGilvray. There's nothing at all wrong with the grounding, but we need to know where his feet were before the ball was grounded. Obviously, if they're in the field of play as he grounds it, it's a try. If they're on the sideline, the white line of the sideline, or over it, and on the ground, it won't be a try. It looks okay from that angle, but we need the other angle, really. But the touch was in a good position, and he seemed pretty confident, didn't he? Giving the try. This will give greater clarity, I believe.
Foot's up in the air. Just whether his knee brushes the in-goal line, isn't it?
It is. You can't say anything to disprove the fact that it's been a try, and that's what the two officials there decided. So if they can't disprove it, they'll have to award it.
The balance of evidence would seem to be in Jermaine McGilvray's favour here. And having a look again, Duport across to try and make the tackle. McGilvray's a big fella. He was always going to get there. And you'd say the ball was down there before the knee gets anywhere near the in-goal line.
I think that will be given. Can't see any reason to disallow that.
So the French side beginning, the French supporters, I should say, beginning to make their...
I think they'll be wet as well.
Yeah, they're making their exits here, aren't they? I think they know that...
job done for England, isn't it?
Yeah. Not going to come up trumps here. McGilvray, I think he's going to be given this. We wait for the decision. Robert Hicks, to remind you, the video referee here. And the try is given. Jermaine McGilvray's first try in an England jersey, I believe, in this, his second appearance.
Interesting though, down to 12 men, England dominance increasing, get the field position from the penalty, and over they go. Exemplary Test match rugby, and when you look at the rain there, good on them. It's been some good work by this England team.
So Gareth Widdop looking to make it 5 out of 6. That's a super effort from the touchline. 6 points for the French, 34 now for England, with just under 10 minutes left to play. It's been a satisfactory workout from England's point of view.
Very much so. It's a good goal kicker, isn't he, Widdop? I mean, when you think he's only missed one, and they've been from a variety of distances and angles, and there's been some difficult kicks in there, and it's a real valuable asset to have that, turning the 4 into 6s with the conversion. It really sickens the opposition.
Lomax with the take, and Burgess will bring it back of the Tom variety on that occasion.
Well, England will certainly know they've been in a game, Dave, today, which is credit to the French side, and I'm sure that France will feel that they've certainly made progress from last year to this year with how they've fronted up today.
Another carry by Tom Burgess, very nearly to the halfway line. Josh Hodgson calling the shots at dummy half. Here's Gale with a dash. Ratchford and Widdop out wide, gets the pass away to McGilvray, who's passes forward, surely. I don't think you needed a slide rule to measure that one, did you?
Yeah, I think that was perhaps one of the easier decisions for the officials there, as proven by that. He was virtually stood in front of him, wasn't he, Stephen Ratchford? No, they didn't quite get the timings right there.
So 7 minutes to go. Quick reminder that that game against New Zealand, England's first game in the Four Nations, next Saturday, 1:15 p.m. live on BBC One. We'll also see highlights ahead of that game of Scotland, Steve McCormack's Scotland against Australia. England against Scotland on November the 5th, live from Coventry, and immediately followed by Australia against New Zealand. Both of those live on BBC television. The third game, England-Australia, on Sunday, November the 13th, again live on BBC television at the London Stadium, the former Olympic Stadium, and the final itself at Anfield a week later, whether England are involved or not, will also be live on BBC television. 5 of the Four Nations games live on either BBC One or BBC Two, and extended highlights of the 2 Scotland games that don't involve England to boot. So it's more or less covered.
It is, very comprehensively, and I'm going to make a prediction at this point in time. England will be in the final, Dave. I think I've seen enough to convince myself of that, especially when you look at the people sat on the sidelines, such as Sam Burgess, Liam Farrell, Chris Hill, John Bateman, George Williams. Tasty.
Here's Benjamin Julian down that right channel, and he's lost the ball. In fact, it was a 6 tackle, wasn't it? So it's a handover. Lomax. Here's Hall.
McGilvery.
Well, they're going to the left-hand side instead, and Cooper is the man who's involved. And as you said, the two wingers have done plenty of the heavy-duty stuff, haven't they?
Yeah, they've been excellent, both of them.
Hodgson again, looking to get away and make a dart, looks for the inside ball, and there's Kevin Brown who puts a little kick on. So here's a chase, and it's going to be scored by Widdop, Gareth Widdop, with a third second-half try for England, and it is becoming much more comprehensive now, just as they did in the first half. In the final 12-14 minutes, England have broken clear, and Widdop is the latest to score, as England lead 38 points to 6.
I love that try. Really good try, that one. Lovely offload from Josh Hodgson through the line. Kevin Brown pushing with him, and then he just plays with his eyes, doesn't he, Kevin Brown? He read the situation so well. There's the offload here when Hodgson will take off. Played really well. And then from that offload, Brown's got his eyes up, he assesses the situation in the blink of an eye, puts a very accurate kick in for Widdop to score. I think Widdop's operates at the minute in the centre, so they're really looking at different combinations while sticking to the same structure and systems, and the players have done really well buying into those. Pretty exciting stuff to when you consider the weather. But it's exciting stuff in anticipation of the forthcoming Four Nations.
So England laying their mark down here tonight, just as Australia looked to have done in Perth back on October the 15th with their victory over New Zealand. I'm sure that New Zealand will respond.
Beautiful read, beautiful kick. He just sat up perfectly for Widdop. I think Widdop deserves that, to tell you the truth, Dave. I think he's had a real good game.
Has he cemented his position at number 6?
I think so, yes.
And Gale the 7, do you reckon?
I don't know about the other position. I certainly think Widdop will be one. And one of the facts you've got to consider is the guy's kicked 6 goals out of 7. And that's in Test match rugby. That's very, very, very important.
Here's a take by Elliot Whitehead to drive it back. 40 points to 6 the scoreline, but Whitehead's knocked on here, so maybe a chance for a little late consolation.
It's a rarity, that. The rarity is, first of all, in England's own half, and the rarity is also early in the tackle count. And that's why England have been so efficient and professional. But this is a great opportunity for France to perhaps post a consolation. You couldn't argue that they'd be worthy of, you know, another score, because their effort's been very, very good indeed, this French team.
So the feed is by Robin. There's Bartel who throws it wide. Gigot with a pass. A little bit of a juggle by Ben Garcia, but he's kept a hold and put it backwards, I think. Yep, play on. Is it Benjamin Julian? What's the referee given here? Well, he called held, so they're going to go back to the original tackle. So 5 tackles to go from here. Navarrete, Romain Navarrete, as I said before, signed from Catalan for Wigan. A handful of appearance for the Dragons this last year, but Wigan have seen an awful lot of potential in him, so he could be starring in Super League next year.
There's an element of dominance in there and brutality in England's defence.
Here's Bartel, who slides it in. Hall has it covered. Yep, just a glance over his shoulder to make sure there's no despairing dive coming. And the kick too strong and a tap on the 20.
Which is the reason they're having to go for the kick, I believe, as an effort of breaking the defence down. You think that the England defence has conceded 1 try, which was from an online defensive point of view, from a dummy half scoop by Pelissier. I think they'll be very, very satisfied with that, because I can't really think of another line break, Dave, from the French team.
This is Hodgson. And Ratchford getting involved in the middle, and Brown is there as well. That's a good effort by Cooper, just driving away. Good carry. And another penalty. Well, they'll be teammates next year, won't they? Benjamin Julian and Mike Cooper.
Yeah, it's a good one to have in your team, is Cooper. Does all the little things very, very well indeed.
That's a decent kick by, was it Hodgson who kicked that, and has given England a tap restart 5 metres out.
Last play.
Yep, the hoot has sounded. But they've not taken the tap properly yet, the referee decides. So here we go, this will be the last play of the game. Hodgson to Brown. Can England finish with a real flourish here? Gale puts it back. Lomax is going to have a run. Now it's McGilvray with a kick to the in-goal area, but it's going to go out of play, and that will be that. A warm-up win for England. Wayne Bennett starts his tenure as England coach with a very impressive 40 points to 6 win over the French in Avignon. 4 tries in the last 14 minutes of the first half, 3 tries in the last 12 minutes of the second half, and a job well done, John Keir.
A job very, very well done indeed. Yes, they'll be really happy. You've got to throw the conditions into that factor, as well as a committed French side. But they really have worked the systems and structures so well. They look very comfortable with them. The players look as if they believe in them. And the process of rugby league gone really well for England. And compliments also to this French team. Very spirited performance, very gutsy performance. And they really have improved from last year. So, you know, 8 out of 10 for England, 6 out of 10 for France.
tortured themselves.
What about...
So we need to be thinking about this in a very clear-eyed way.
Let's talk about Hillary Clinton as a potential commander-in-chief. She does have a foreign policy record, unlike Trump, who's never held public office before. And it's far from perfect. Let's put it that way. She supported, what we did in Libya, which has led to disastrous results by pretty much any measure. She was behind the Iran deal, which has been very controversial. And certainly she underestimated the security threat in Benghazi, Libya, as a separate but somewhat related matter, leading to the death of 4 Americans on September 11th of 2011. So how can you, as a general serving in the positions you have, support her for commander-in-chief?
Well, I think she's responded to many of those concerns, particularly Benghazi. I saw her in action when I was a commander in Afghanistan. She was the Secretary of State. We worked closely on a number of issues. I saw her in action in the sit room. I saw her in action in Kabul when she would visit our ambassador and would spend time with me. I spent time with her individually as the commander. She's calm. She understands international relations. She understands that the influence of America is best exerted through our relationships overseas and through our alliances and our partnerships.
Well, what about Trump and Putin? He says he understands that too. And, we've seen Putin, I don't know if he likes Trump. He's complimented him. And you tell me why Putin is doing that.
I don't know that Putin has complimented him. In fact, I believe that Putin has said that he hadn't complimented him. So I'm not clear necessarily on your question, but I don't see that there is a value in the nature of the relationship that I have seen be described between Mr. Trump and Putin.
How closely do you think the Russians, and Putin in particular, are watching our election?
Very, very closely, Megan. Look, there are great forces at work here. One of the great threats, I think, to Russia is the solidarity of the European Union. They're deeply concerned about the capacity of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which has been the stalwart alliance on which so much of the transatlantic alliance, so much of the security of Western Europe, Southern Europe, has rested for so many years. And the solidity, or the solidarity of those organizations are of great interest to him. And when one of the 2 principal candidates for the President of the United States in fact cheerleads the dissolution of the EU or would talk about not being willing to honor Article 5 of the NATO Charter, we've got some real reason for Putin to want to see a particular individual in the Oval Office.
Last question, because I got to go. But do they study? He's a former KGB guy, Putin. Do they study? Do you think he's studying Trump and studying Hillary Clinton?
Yeah, there's no question about that. They've got the voice prints. They can tell when someone is agitated. They can tell when someone is angry. They can tell when someone is telling the truth or not telling the truth. And all of this is to ensure that in a crisis, they can push the buttons that they think they need to in order for that crisis to go their way. Michael Morell, the former deputy director of the CIA, wrote an excellent piece on this. And I think that it's worth our always being conscious that the Russians are going to watch every aspect of this. They're quite good at it. They're quite expert at this, at understanding people's personalities, and I think that that's something we should take into account.
Fascinating. General Allen, thanks for being here, and thanks for your service.
Thank you, Megan. God bless. Out here.
New controversy bubbling up for Hillary Clinton and the White House today, as the latest WikiLeaks dump suggests President Obama may have lied in his initial comments about Hillary Clinton's private email server and private email. Former President Bush speechwriter Mark Thiessen and Matt Bennett, a former aide to President Clinton, are next on that. Plus, could one of the biggest names in sports be now considering a career in politics? Tim Tebow is live on the Kelly File in moments.
If you did have a contagious disease, obviously sometimes you would be really sick, and you could also, unfortunately, not make it, right?
Right. About 3,500 people do die on Ellis Island. So this was an autopsy amphitheater.
An amphitheater? Oh my, this is incredible. You guys have to see this. So, an amphitheater. So this looks like something out of, I don't know, a medical school or something like that?
Exactly. So this was a teaching hospital. And people were doing their residencies here.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So they were learning from the doctors here on Ellis Island Remember, this was the best hospital in the world at the time.
Medical students would stand up here and observe what was happening.
Absolutely.
So I'm presuming the body would be put kind of where that cart is?
Yeah, so that's probably not the autopsy table.
Sure.
I'm going to go ahead and say that was probably a table for instruments. But the gentleman who cleans up these wards for us, he said he found that table there in 1972, and he has left it there since.
Built to hold 750 beds, the hospital treated patients in nearly identical rooms, constructed with an eye towards a cure.
This is an open ward. So an open ward meaning if you were suffering from something that a lot of people had, you'd be in a room together. We affectionately call most of these wards measles wards because that would be a large number of people suffering from measles. There would have been a bed in between each window. The windows would have been open year-round for airflow. The corners are actually a little bit rounded so that airflow and circulation and you can't trap dirt.
Just recently, after 60 years, the Save Ellis Island Foundation opened these wards for limited tours, but we received some incredible access.
Now we're going to go upstairs, which is where most people don't get to
So
go.
this is some place that's special for us that no one else gets to see.
It's true.
Do you see this chair?
This
sitting
is
over
my
here? Is that
favorite
good?
ward. This is actually my favorite ward. And when I see these chairs, I want to know who was sitting here last and why.
Have you ever sat in that chair?
I don't sit in any of the chairs. It looks completely different than the other wards that we go into. And it's actually the next story that I'm going to try to explore with our public programming, and it's the story of World War II on Ellis Island.
While immigration slowed through Ellis Island in the 1930s and 40s, the hospital remained open, providing treatment to returning servicemen for shell shock during World War II.
You know what's interesting, Jessica, is that this whole place doesn't have that eerie feeling that I was expecting. I mean, knowing that there is a morgue or that people stayed here for years, I kind of expected to have that haunted house feeling a little bit, but it doesn't feel that way in here.
No,
It feels different.
You know, to me, it's almost like I said, this whole level of care that people were given, and dignity and respect, and how that they were treated here. I feel like I don't necessarily think that there are ghosts or creepy feelings. It's more of energy and emotion.
That said, I'm not sure I'd like to be here in the dead of night on Halloween, for example. I mean, do you ever get freaked out being in here?
I don't want to come back on Halloween.
Our travels take us to one final spectacular room, where immigrants from different countries speaking different languages waited to learn their fate. Most made it through to mainland America. Some didn't. And the American dream remained just that, an image rather than a reality.
You have to see this. It's so beautiful. So you could be in one of the beds here being treated, and you would be able to look out your window, and you'd be able to see the Statue of Liberty. I can't imagine what it would be like to be here. You're so close to being able to be free, whatever that would mean for you, but you were detained, and this is what you were able to look at.
Developing tonight, the White House is now dealing with some awkward new questions about Hillary Clinton's email scandal and whether President Obama lied to the American people about what he knew. Remember, it was back in 2015, not long after the story broke, when CBS News had a chance to press the White House about the Clinton controversy.
Mr. President, when did you first learn that Hillary Clinton used an email system outside the U.S. government for official business while she was Secretary of State?
The same time everybody else learned it through news reports.
But now we're seeing hacked emails from WikiLeaks that show Team Clinton was stunned by that response, exchanging emails suggesting President Obama was not being truthful and about how this needed, quote, cleaning up. Ed Henry is our chief national correspondent. Ed?
Good evening, Megan. Tonight, White House spokesman Josh Earnest is stressing the president never said he did not trade emails with Hillary Clinton. He just did not know the details about her server. But that is not how top Clinton advisor Cheryl Mills read the president's interview with CBS. She appeared to freak out in real time, firing off an email declaring, quote, "We need to clean this up." He has emails from her. They do not say state.gov, meaning Mills, who was chief of staff of the State Department, knew Clinton and the president had exchanged work emails on her personal email address. So his answer set off alarm bells. Mills read it to mean he had not told the whole truth and gasoline could be poured on the Clinton email fire. Other new emails also show infighting among Clinton advisors after the New York Times revealed the existence of the server in 2015, with liberal activist Neera Tanden writing to John Podesta and teeing off on Mills by saying, quote, "This is a Cheryl special. Why didn't they get this stuff out like 18 months ago? So crazy." Podesta agreed, replying, "Unbelievable. I guess I know the answer," concluded Tanden. They wanted to get away with it. Yet another batch of notes show a Clinton advisor revealed that the candidate had trust issues with her own staff because of leaks about the email scandal. Podesta may have summed all of this up by calling the controversy a hot mess. Megan?
Ed Henry, thank you. Joining me now, Mark Thiessen, Fox News contributor and former chief speechwriter for President George W. Bush, and Matt Bennett, a former deputy assistant to President Clinton. Good to see you both. So,
good to see you, Megan.
I mean, Mark, you know, when you say the word lie, it means there's a consciousness of deception.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at a minimum, the president said something that was incorrect. That much we know. How do you get to lie?
Well, because if you look at it's important to look at the question that he was asked. So he was not asked, when did you learn that Hillary Clinton had a private unsecured server in her bathroom? He was asked by CBS News, quote, "When did you first learn that Hillary Clinton used an email system outside the U.S. government for official business while she was Secretary of State?" And he said, "I learned it from the media." That is plain untrue, because we now know that he was emailing with her on an email system outside the U.S. Outside of the U.S. government. Her email did not say state.gov. It didn't even say Gmail or Hotmail. It said ClintonMail.com. So did he not notice that? Cheryl Mills noticed that. That's why she said we need to clean this up, which meant cover up the fact that there were emails between them, which they did successfully
Matt, why
until
are
this
you
September.
shaking your head no?
Look, Megan, Mark doesn't know anything about what the president knows or whether he was being untruthful, because what he doesn't know is whether the president noticed the URL that the email from Hillary originated from. I don't notice people's URLs. Most people, I think, don't, and surely the president, one of the busiest people on the planet, doesn't notice. That is a staff thing to worry about.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Okay, so point taken, but let me ask you, Matt. The facts seem to be that our Secretary of State and our President were having a little chat via email on an unsecure server via her private email address, which is outrageous, and he, in your scenario, doesn't even know. So what's to stop him from saying something he shouldn't be saying? And does that not underscore the grossly irresponsible nature of her decision and, under your theory, her lack of disclosure of it in talking to people like the president?
Look, there is no question that she made a mistake, and she has said that a million times, including in the last debate.
She
should not have had a personal server. I mean, it was a mistake, but we don't know anything about what the president was paying attention to as it relates to the emails coming from Secretary Clinton or anybody else.
Well, if he didn't pay attention to it, Mark, is that not on her?
It said ClintonMail.com.
He had too much faith in her.
It said ClintonMail.com. It's not hard to see. It's not a URL. It's the email that's in every American who's read an email.
Either he saw it and he knew, or he didn't see it, and the reason he didn't know is because his Secretary of State didn't call it to his attention that she wasn't writing from where she ought to have been.
And Cheryl Mills knew, and Cheryl Mills noticed it, and so she said, we need to clean this up. He has emails that don't say state.gov. Now, what did she mean by clean this up? She meant cover up the fact that they had been emailing.
Well, no,
why did they want to cover up the fact that they had been emailing? Because that would make him complicit in her misconduct. It would make him complicit in any breaches of security that came out.
We will ponder that over the break because it's a short segment. But thanks for being here. See you guys.
Thanks,
Tim Tebow's next.
See you, Meg.
Exclusive reports, powerful insight, always fair and balanced. This is the best political team in the business. This is America's election headquarters.
The post-Twisted Sister life for you. Maybe, you are in Vegas, she's in Vegas, right?
Yes, she is actually. And you know what? That's the thing. I don't know what happened. And that's why this mainstream rock record makes sense. People like me, maybe not some of the people after hearing, during political times, people get crazy, because if you take any position, the other side is like railing against you. But I actually asked Alice Cooper, I said, what the hell is going on? I said, I was reviled. I would walk down the street, people would cross, before people knew who I was, cross the street. Now, everywhere I go, people, D. Alice said, they get used to you. I said, what do you mean get used to you? He goes, yeah, after a while, you stay around long enough, they just expect you to be there, like Norm from Cheers.
Right.
Hey, Alice, hey, D. You
Well,
know?
I can't wait to find out what you're going to do next and what is in store for Dee Snider, because you have done so much, and who knows?
I told you I wrote a musical. That had to be fairly surprising.
I mean, you wrote a musical,
Yes.
and then I went to and I also saw you in your Broadway.
Dee Does Broadway.
Dee Does Broadway. Mac the Knife.
Oh, Mac the Knife, yeah. That was, yeah. I'm always, I like challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And my son is an up-and-coming director. He's just signed his deal with New Line, and he's got doing a pilot for a sitcom with Disney. And he's encouraged me to do more acting. And he's put together a reel, and he says, he's getting me an acting agent. He says, Dad, you got to do more acting.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I said, hey, you know what? That interests me. Rather than rehash old Twisted songs, I'd rather be challenged by something new.
Okay.
Something I'd always rather say, I haven't sold one record with this, but this is what the newest thing I work on.
Would you ever be challenged by having short hair?
If you know what?
I say this because if you have, radio is theater of the mind, so everybody listening, I'm sure, knows who Dee Snider is. But you have a beautiful mane of hair. It's pulled back. It's slicked back. It's in the long ponytail.
Yeah, because I let it out when I rock. I have to let it out.
Yeah, you got to let it out. And you've got all of this beautiful silver, huge, chunky jewelry. You're wearing sunglasses with me now.
Pants so tight you can tell I'm circumcised. My God.
That too is happening. But would you ever cut the hair?
You know what? I was actually thinking about that because I know if you get offered a certain movie role, if you get the right part, yes. And that's the thing. If you're going to be an actor, and I don't expect I'm going to get like become the action hero. I expect some indie film.
You're fit enough to be an action hero.
Oh, well, thank you. I am. Thank you. But maybe some indie film will want me to roll, and if it required cutting the hair, I'd do it.
You would? Okay.
Yeah. Once I get done with the rock and roll
Okay,
stuff.
mark this code on the tape because we're going to have to go back and play it when the moment happens. And I'm sure you'll donate to Locks of Love or something charitable.
They don't want this. If it wasn't for 30 pounds of product, it's just a big frizz ball.
Well, Dee, thank you for coming by.
I offered my hair to Locks of Love, and they said no.
That would be something, but you never know.
No, I'm cool with being bald. The cancer kid said, I'm cool with being bald.
I would
want
hazard to guess that
frizz
your
ball.
hair would actually bring some good money in charity as well.
From the world headquarters of Fox News, it's The Kelly File with Megyn Kelly.
Well, Tim Tebow captured the nation's attention as a Heisman Award-winning football player back at the University of Florida. He went on to play in the NFL, starting with the Denver Broncos. A couple of teams, and a few years later, he is now taking a turn at professional baseball, having recently signed a minor league contract with the New York Mets. Already one of the biggest names in sports, could his future include politics down the road as well? Joining us now, Tim Tebow, author of the new book, Shaken, Discovering Your True Identity in the Midst of Life's Storms. Tim, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for being with us.
Of course, Megyn. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. So let's just start with, so you used to, I'm not a sports person, so forgive me. You played football. It went great, and then it went not as great. And now you've decided to play baseball, and you're in the minor leagues for the Mets. And how does that happen? Were you good at both in high school? How did you get to that point?
Well, first of all, that's a great way to sum it up. Yeah, baseball was something I did my whole life, and I honestly almost went pro out of high school, but I chose the University of Florida, more because Mom wanted me to get an education, but I loved both. And but baseball was something that has been with me ever since. And when football didn't necessarily pan out how maybe I thought or hoped it would, and baseball was always with me. And it was something that I had been thinking about for a couple years, and even had to convince some people on my own team that I could do it. And but now I'm out pursuing it and loving it and having so much fun.
See, I get it. Like, you like to hit things and you like to throw things. So you've chosen two good sports for you. But
you got it, Megyn. You got it.
What I've read about the book is actually very inspirational because, I mean, I think our viewers certainly know you're a man of faith and you're a man who loved football and played it, but you've had failures, as I read. You were let go by 4 NFL teams in 5 years after having such a storied beginning to your career. How do you deal with that? How do you get through those kinds of challenges and failures?
Well, that's what this book is all about. It's about handling the lows. You know, Megan, I've been blessed to go through some highs. But I think going through the lows is something, honestly, I am so thankful for now, too, because I feel like there's so many people that life hits them right in the face, and they have to go through a lot of lows, and it really gives me the opportunity to relate to a lot of people, and that's what this book is written for. It's written for people that have gone through lows or about to go through lows or are going through lows, and it's to encourage them that their life matters, that they're important, to realize the purpose that they have in their life, and that was really the heart that I had behind this for the last year and a half or so, of really trying to write to young people to encourage them